Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Top 5 to Stay Alive for May 2020. Well, I don't think I can, you'd be contagious, or I'd be contagious and give you the coronavirus, so I'm going to remove this. How's that? Whew. In the past video emails, we have looked at ways to combat the coronavirus by using vitamin C, zinc, and colloidal silver. Today, we're going to look at another powerful weapon that was developed for the military and is being researched right now on stopping the coronavirus. It's actually a broad spectrum antiviral nutrient that also boosts your immunity. In fact, it's part of a militia that can help make a virus less infectious, even if your immune function has been undermined by something. It's so powerful, even the United States Department of Defense has studied how it can send viruses packing. Here's how to fight any viral infection with the power of a Navy SEAL. You may have heard of the nutrient quercetin, but you may be confused as to where it comes from and what it does. Scientists call it a flavonoid, which is just a fancy word for a plant pigment with antioxidant properties. It was first identified in oak trees over 150 years ago and named after querceterum, or an oak grove. Turns out that you can find quercetin in lots of other plants, including fruits and vegetables, too. That means our supply of it may never run out. There's a lot of talk out there about how quercetin can benefit your health in general, but today I'm going to be really specific about how quercetin can shore up your defenses and arm you for war, because it's not just a natural immune booster, it's also known as an antiviral. There are three main ways that quercetin sets up a roadblock against certain infections. Number one, it stops the virus from infecting healthy cells and basically you. Number two, stop the viruses and the cells it's already infected from replicating. And number three, stops pro-inflammatory cytokines from unleashing a storm of inflammation. That means it can lessen the severity of a viral infection, resulting in lower inflammation in your lungs and less sensitivity in your airways. It could also help beat back secondary infections, including those caused by bacteria, and it could even help keep you from landing in an early grave. It's not just one virus that collapses under the power of quercetin either, because this nutrient has been proven to combat multiple types of flu, one cause of pneumonia, the common cold, and even Zika. A huge reason to cheer about the antiviral potency of quercetin is how scientists can't even force viruses to develop a resistance against it. And in cases where a virus resists an antiviral pharmaceutical, studies have shown how quercetin can step up to the plate and give those drugs a little extra nudge. Here's how you know that quercetin is serious business when it comes to antiviral activities. Researchers from the U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects agencies have developed a special patented version of quercetin that's easy for your body to absorb. That's the U.S. Department of Defense's own research arm, and the DoD is now using it on the front lines to protect our troops from being crippled by viral infections in combat. The patent extract is called QU995, and the FDA has granted it generally recognized as safe status. This food-grade quercetin is the purest form you'll find anywhere. Thankfully, it's not just for the military, but civilians too. You'll find it sold under the brand name Q-Force, but you can buy quercetin supplements in a chewable or capsule form at any health food store. And so there's no confusion. Quercetin is actually spelled Quercetin, quercetin. That's the way it's pronounced. Topic number 2. Whether it's in your mouth, your gut, your private parts, or elsewhere, and whether you're at home or in a healthcare facility, a candida infection can strike without warning. If you're already dealing with medical challenges or your immune system isn't quite up to snuff, candida can keep you from getting better. It could even worsen your condition. And in some folks, especially those who've been hospitalized and or with compromised immune systems, candida could send them to an early grave. Among the world's most common healthcare associated infections, candidiasis ranks at number 4. But you don't have to be hooked up to a ventilator or catheter to catch it, because it can even infect your dentures. Here's how to stay safe from it thanks to a substance extracted from a good old folk remedy. Castor bean oil, derived from seeds of castor bean plant, may be best known for its laxative properties, but there's a substance locked away inside the unsaturated omega-9 fat that could save the day when it comes to yeast infections. It's called undecanoic acid, and it's naturally occurring fatty acids. Now, most organic fatty acids can kill fungi like Candida and other forms of yeast, but undecanoic acid appears to be the step above the rest because it's not completely foreign substance to your body, and it occurs naturally in small amounts in our bodies, usually in our sweat. It's less likely to irritate you than other fungicides. That's why endocanoic acid, in its salt form, was the first cure to relieve soldiers' damp fungal feet during World War II without causing too much irritation. And its power against Candida specifically appears to be threefold. It beats back the virulence of Candida organisms by stopping its conversion from a simple, harmless yeast form into a harmful form that's associated with active infection. It busts through biofilms that Candida cells create to protect from attack by our immune system or conventional drugs, and finally damages the cell walls of the Candida. Now, you won't get the undecanoic acid you need by simply drinking castor oil, because you can only obtain it through a special extraction process. While it's proven effective when used topically in its salt form, available over the counter as cream or powder, more invasive infections might need you to bring out the big guns. Fortunately, there are free acid capsules of undecanoic acid that you can take orally, and the acid in your stomach actually helps to make it better. It's also included as an ingredient in formulas for Candida support and even women's health, sometimes in combination with another antifungal fatty acid, caprylic acid. Topic number 3. Some of us spend our entire lives trying to lose weight just to get smaller. But once we reach a certain age, now they tell us we have to worry about getting too small. It's true. You don't want to waste away as you get older. That happens to too many older folks who become sedentary and can't get around anymore like they used to. It's not just about maximizing your mobility, because losing muscle mass can increase your risk of death. In fact, the strongest folks out there over 60 have half the death rate of those who are the weakest. Which category do you fit into right now? And what happens if you're hospitalized or otherwise forced to stay in bed until you recover from something like surgery or illness? Having some muscle reserves could help you survive those trying times. So even if you're perfectly healthy right now, you've got to maintain your muscles, because that's the way you're going to stay active and retain your independence in the long run. You know that diet and exercise are important, but are you missing out on this third and critical factor? By the time you reach your 80s, if you're not already there, your muscle mass could be about 15% of what it was in the 30s. That is, if you don't do anything to stop that muscle loss, because sarcopenia, aka muscle wasting, is not inevitable, and fertility or frailty as you get older isn't just a given. You know that a diet high in animal protein is key, but there's something else you can do, and it might be missing link that explains why some older folks lose their strength and others don't. I'm talking about tiny building blocks of protein, much smaller than molecules, called amino acids. You can't build muscle without amino acids, and they signal the muscle to grow. It's like flipping the switch on your muscle building factories in your body to get work. All amino acids can trigger muscle growth, but there's one in particular that appears to be more powerful than the rest. It's called leucine, and you've got to make sure you're getting enough of it. This isn't some crazy bodybuilder trick or fad to juice up athletic performance, because research shows it's worked in older guys and gals, and maybe it could work for you too. There's certainly no harm in trying. Leucine is considered an essential amino acid, which means your body needs it, but it can't produce it on its own. So you've got to find a way to get it from outside source. By far the richest one is a byproduct of cheese making process called whey. In fact, getting older, losing from other food sources can be a challenge. Imagine having to eat nearly 15 eggs or 5 servings of peanuts to get the same amount of leucine from just 1 serving of whey. And in some cases, you could be consuming nearly 10 times as many calories by consuming those other sources. Fortunately, you don't have to. Because from some consider whey the gold standard of protein. There are a few different types of whey that you can get at your local health food store or online, so do your research and choose the right one for you. If you have a problem digesting dairy, for instance, whey protein as isolate can be up to 95% protein and contain little or no lactose. Look for whey that's ideally sourced from grass-fed organic cheese or milk with no artificial sweeteners. Health Guardian Slim contains 19 grams of undenatured, which means cold processed so you don't lose all its benefit, whey protein isolate per serving, plus it's a nutrient-packed, great-tasting green drink containing 7 servings of fruits, 7 servings of vegetable, 3 types of mushrooms, spirulina, chlorella, and much more. It comes in chocolate, vanilla, and berry. I believe it to be the best tasting green drink on the market today. I take it every day for lunch. I'm kind of lean towards the chocolate. Topic number 4. This coronavirus outbreak has hit America like a freight train. Churches, schools, and stores are closed for now. Our lives are on hold. And the mainstream media is reporting on the pandemic 24 hours a day. Are you sick of it yet? But it still feels like there's so much we don't know about this deadly virus. Health researchers are desperately trying to learn more, and there are dozens of studies happening all over the world. But here's the truth. There's one important lesson about coronavirus that we all should have learned by now. In fact, learning it could save your life now and long after the outbreak is over. It's truly frightening how this new coronavirus caught the whole world flat-footed. And millions of us are staying in our homes right now for a very simple reason. When the virus emerged out of the blue just a couple of months ago, Big Pharma had nothing to treat it. There was no specific drug, there was no vaccine, and there still isn't. We're all just sitting around waiting. Now, I know there's been some talk, even from the president himself, about the anti-malaria drug hydroxychloroquine. It's being tested on coronavirus patients in several countries now, and it may hold some promise depending on who you ask. But I think lots of us are missing the point why hydroxychloroquine about it. When it first emerged as possible treatment, some doctors worried that lupus and rheumatoid arthritis patients who depend on hydroxychloroquine wouldn't be able to get it. Here's the question we should have been asking. Why the heck are we treating lupus and rheumatoid arthritis patients with a malaria drug? The answer is simple. Big Pharma doesn't have anything better to offer many folks with these diseases, just like it didn't have much to offer when the coronavirus pandemic started. And that is the number one lesson we all should be learning from coronavirus. For God's sake, do not count on drug companies to save your life. Don't assume that if your health goes south, Big Pharma will be there in a pinch with some miracle cure. These companies do not have all the answers. In fact, they don't even have most of the answers. That's how we end up in the bat poop crazy territory, experimenting with unapproved medications for unintended uses, hoping something works. You have to take charge of protecting your own health. It's as simple as that. Even after this pandemic ends, we still need to be vigilant about things like hand washing and staying away from people who are sick. You also need to be serious about eating well, supplementing, and addressing anything else like potential nutritional deficiencies that could possibly undermine your health, because you don't ever want to depend on the drug companies to save your bacon. When you need them most, you might find that help isn't on the way. This leads me to topic number 5, taking the FEAR out of fear. Do you have the coronavirus blues? Every day we are led to believe This is the worst thing that could have happened to this country and the world. Some of you are totally believe this, and others think it's a total scam on the American people. Which category you fall in? What is fact or fiction? If we are to believe Dr. Fauci, we all better bury our heads between our legs and kiss our sweet butt cheeks goodbye. But then you hear from other experts that this is all fear mongering and the death rates are way overinflated and this is no worse than a seasonal flu. Let's look at annual death rates. Heart disease, 648,000. Cancer, 599,000. Chronic lower respiratory disease, 160,000. Alzheimer's, 121,000. Diabetes, 83,000. Did they tell you to quit the sugar? Influenza, which people die from pneumonia, not from the flu, 65,000 every year. Alcohol, people that drink, 35,000 deaths. You can add another 61,000 to that for cirrhosis of the liver. That's 90-some thousand people die every year from alcohol. Drug overdoses, 67,000 every year. Car accidents, 38,000. Are they telling you to quit driving? Prescribed medications, listen to this. 128,000 people die every year from properly prescribed medications. Are they telling you to quit taking those prescribed medications in the lockdown? 53,000 also die from my pillow. Not really, but if I see one more commercial, I'm going to kill myself. Ballpoint pens, 6,000 people die from choking on a ballpoint pen every year. How is that even possible? Did they take ballpoint pens off the market? Cigarette smoking, listen to this, 480,000 deaths every year from smoking, including 41,000 from secondhand smoke. Funny, you don't have to wear a special containment suit when smoking, and there's no lockdown to avoid cigarette smoke from your neighbor, or better yet, your mayor isn't telling you to rat out your neighbor because he's smoking. We do nothing to control these other forms of death, and yet we are to believe getting the coronavirus is a death sentence when 80% get it and have no symptoms. Now, if you are fearful of dying, I understand that. I'm going to give you some sound advice that I hope you will hear through these trying times. Here are 3 things you can do to remove that fear of dying. Number 1, have your house in order. What do I mean by that? What I mean is make sure all the details of your insurance policy, bank accounts, 401ks, mortgage info, bitcoins, shoebox buried in the backyard. You get the idea. Make these details ready to be transferred to someone in case the worst happens. It's terrible when someone passes and the state confiscates all the inheritance, or someone finds $1 million buried in a mattress 50 years from now. Number 2, be right before your maker. This past Easter was a really strange one because the number of one church attended Sunday is Easter Sunday, and we were all in lockdown. I watched the Passion of Christ, and it reminded me of the brutality and suffering Christ endured for our behalf. And the most important part of the entire ordeal was, in fact, the resurrection of Christ. Without the resurrection, without it, Christian faith would be worthless with no reason to follow Jesus or go to church. Without it, Jesus would have been a liar because he foretold his resurrection. The prophets also would be a scam artist, and the Bible would be nothing more than a fairy tale. Without it, there would be no pardon for sins. Jesus' death on the cross would amount to nothing more than a falsely accused man being put to death. Without it, there would be no hope after death. The great theologian, Bill Maher, would be right in that once you die, you would be nothing more than worm food. But seeing his horrible alternative leads us to a greater appreciate that Christ was indeed raised from the dead. The Bible is in fact true. We all can have forgiveness of sins by believing this, and our hope for our resurrection after death is secure. Oh, death, where is your sting? Number 3, live each day as if it's your last. I actually look forward to my own resurrection and life eternal, but I will still have time left here on this coronavirus-infested planet. I plan on living each day to its fullest, smelling the flowers, making memories with my grandchildren, sharing what little knowledge I do have with others, and not fearing my death because I know, as the song says, is I will rise up. So I leave you with what Jesus told his disciples before ascending to heaven. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. And make sure to take your Cardio for Life until we meet again and have, okay, he didn't say that final thing about Cardio for Life, but he would have. All right, let's move on to testimonials. Testimony number one. We love working with Dr. Harry. He has the best cardio formula around and is always ready to answer any question you might have. The top 5 is still alive and awesome. Thanks for that, Alan. Testimony number two. The service and dedication to their customers is awesome and amazing. Dr. Harry and his sales team, which is my son, have been excellent in handling every question and need that me and my clientele have encountered. Thank you for that, James. Testimony number 3. I have been nothing but grateful and blessed to have a product called Cardio for Life available for me to take. I have been healthy as a horse since I started it 9 years ago. No problems here. The product is great. The company is great. Customer service is first class. Love it, love it, love it. Thanks for that, Barbara. Number 4. I just wanted to write and thank you so much for quickly shipping out my orders to Sumas, Washington. I kept checking UPS and saw that it was delivered today to my Sumas addresses. Today, our Prime Minister of Canada, Mr. Trudeau, announced the U.S.-Canadian border would close at 11:55 Eastern Standard Time tonight, and only essential crossings allowed due to the coronavirus. I was able to drive down immediately as it's only 20 minutes from my city in British Columbia. I explained to the customs my necessity, and they were so great. I got the parcel and with 15 minutes was back across the border through customs. I wore nitrile gloves, used hand sanitizer, wore a mask when needed, and practiced social distancing. Quite the experience for us all. My neighbors are 86 and take Cardio for Life every day. They were so concerned they would run out, so they are too grateful you shipped it so fast. UPS kept me posted up to date. We are all well here. Blessings on it every day. Thank you for that, Virginia. We do ship to Canada every day. Unfortunately, it costs 3 times as much across the border than if you were to pick it up in the US. So people have to make do. Number 5, this is kind of an important one. I want to share this with you. At age 75, my feet and toes were always bluish color and always cold, whether winter or summer. I took a daily dose of Cardio for Life, and within the first week, I saw a noticeable difference. My toes are now pink and warm, continuing to see improvement this first month. We definitely continue using Cardio for Life. What a difference it makes taking Cardio for Life. Increase that circulation. Thanks for that, Judy. And finally, Cardio for Life seemed to work for me. I feel good, and my ultrasound on carotid arteries went from 76 right side, 63 left side, and they will operate when it gets to 70%, to less than 15% on both sides. I am halfway through my 3rd month. I need to order another 3-month supply. Thanks for that, Daryl. And so with that, I leave you with great testimonies. And I also leave you with this song, people. Like I said before, all we need is each other. We have each other. And for that we have each other. And we will rise. We will rise. We will rise. Oh, we'll rise. I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I will rise 1,000 times again, and we'll rise up. I like the waves will rise up in spite of the ache. We'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again. I will rise one day, and I hope you will rise with me, and we will meet all together in heaven someday. And with that, I say God bless you all. It's Dr. Harry saying, God bless you all. Thank you.